What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the A Show, the Kings Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz. What's going on, Meelz?
I am updating my resume. No cause for concern yet. But I am doing that. And you want to do an impromptu office hours?
Sure, yeah, go ahead. I mean,
I mean, you got a home office. What are you talking about? It's still in an office. It's in spirit. I'm trying to figure out, all right, how do you determine the swath of opportunities they are with one, the experience that you have, and also the role that you have? Because I know when I was a kid, I defined myself by what degree I got, right? And most people will tell you that. And I've learned growing up that even when it comes to getting your degree, and I used to tell my students this back when I worked at the school, I was like, listen, you're still growing up. This isn't the end all be all. Most people who end up getting a degree in something usually do not get the job in whatever they got their degree for.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are the swath of opportunities that are out there for me, and how do you determine that if you've ever gone through this?
I think the one thing out there is that there's just too much stuff. There's too many jobs that just have these really ambiguous wordings. Just going on LinkedIn now, I'm it's overwhelming. It's what the fuck? And then it's the different levels of all of the jobs and shit like that. I think that figuring out what you want to do and what you want to be is even harder than it was before, because
Bro,
I have no clue. I'm literally out here. I'm well, I'm on the job market again.
yeah, but here's the thing. Do you apply to anything, or do you apply to things that you're interested in, and then it's all the other parameters of pay and all these other things you got to take into account now? It's definitely tougher to look for jobs now. Yeah,
it's way tougher to look for jobs now. I think that you also take into account it's somehow gotten way more competitive because of all of the layoffs and shit like that have been going on. It's been really it's been really rough. You know what I mean? It's been a really rough go at it. And I think that when you redo your resume, you have to have multiple versions. I've done this and I've seen people do this and I've done it myself. And you got to have a version for if you apply for specific type of job, or one, because you have to expand upon your strengths and all of these resumes. You know what I mean? I think that the amount of years, I think the gap in the gap in employment, people don't ask about that no more. I don't know if people know this, but people don't ask about that shit no more. Be real.
good. I'm glad.
People, they really don't. They really don't ask about that shit no more.
I didn't put the job that I quit from Con Edison that I talk about. I didn't put it. It's not on my resume because I worked there for 5 weeks, and then I was consequently unemployed for 3 months after that. And the people ask me, and I tell them if they really want to know. But yeah, they usually don't ask me.
Yeah. No, it's who goes all the way back to 2016, in your job history. You know what I'm saying? People are putting too big. I've seen resumes where people are talking about they're still when they were a cashier. I'm take that shit off. They don't care about that. You know what I mean? Jobs really don't care about that.
It's really got to be curated, catered towards the job that you're looking for.
Right.
But then I also get lost in LinkedIn, right? I'll go through this LinkedIn rabbit hole, and then suddenly I feel like I'm applying for jobs that I have no business applying for. But just because now it's been a month or it's been a couple weeks, you haven't heard anything, you're let me continue trying to look out there for what's there. Suddenly I'm applying to some shit in Hampton, Pennsylvania, because it's a remote position that also requires this and all these other stuff like that. And I'm just bro, it's too much, man. It really is. I applaud one of my friends who worked at my job with me. We were I don't know if you ever have your ride or die at your job, someone you can talk to about anything, and then someone who always just down for anything at the job.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my last job. We'd go on projects, and I have to go on site visits, and I just pull up, and I'd be like, "Yo, I'm coming too. Fuck it, whatever. Be out."
Yeah. Just to learn.
Um,
Just to
yeah,
learn, you know?
yeah. Not even just to learn, for to hang.
Yeah.
Like, I did that just to hang. She was the person who, every time I would go record the A show, I'd tell her like, "Yo, if anyone asks, I stepped out," and she's like, "Got you."
Right.
And so she was like, when she was ready to quit, she's like, "I don't care. I'll work at a coffee shop. It really doesn't matter to me. Like, I just want to do shit that I enjoy." And that's what I'm trying to like chase, right? Like,
Yeah.
continuing to do things that I enjoy. I had this great experience Friday when I went into the office, and I was like, man, I'm really getting to do things that I like really wanted to do or set out to do, and I'm really enjoying this. And it would be tough if I lost this job, but it'd also be very realistic in this kind of like climate that we're in.
Right.
Um, but now I'm like, how do I continue to like, find stuff like this, and where do I continue? Because it can't just all be on LinkedIn. Sometimes I go on Indeed, but Indeed will have you doing anything, to be honest with you.
Indeed
Um,
be having the strangest jobs. But the thing about LinkedIn is that it's LinkedIn to me also is like a clout fest. You see how many people that are
yes, yes, yes.
like I have like I worked specifically in LinkedIn when my at my job at Riot. I did corporate communications, but I also work with our talent acquisitions team.
Right.
So a lot of my job was like looking at LinkedIn and seeing what people were resonating with in terms of our recruiting comms. And so I would just be like, yo, like this is a bunch of people, like these are my 5 tips. I'm like, who are you? What do you mean your 5 tips? Who? I don't even know who you are. Like it's
Get
just
your
crazy.
foot in the door, man. I've been doing this for 20 years, been laid off of 16 jobs, but here's the 5 things that have worked the best for me to get those 15 jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so nah, it's definitely a cloud fest. It's definitely turned into LinkedIn is a different story. Like, I like sharing my like minor victories. I like sharing a couple other things. I was surprised that so many people were very like receptive to a lot of things that happened for me recently, but um it's definitely cloud fest. It's definitely like a lot of, it's going up and down and seeing like, y'all don't care
Yeah.
realistically, but it's part of the gig. I just told my boy, I was like, listen, just keep it updated, just update it from
Yeah.
time to time. I don't like going on there, but I do go on there from time to time to just be like, refresh myself with the climate of like how everything is going, seeing what's out there. Because to be honest with you, I told my boy, listen, you're probably not going to get a pay bump staying where you are, so you kind of have to hop to different jobs.
Yeah.
Um, that's how you maximize your opportunity for making money, unless they're actually promoting you. Um, so
Which
I
is
said,
rare.
listen, it's super rare. So I just said, listen, just keep it updated. But it's definitely, looking throughout the vast sea that is the job market, is definitely overwhelming, and that's probably the hardest part of like, I guess, putting yourself out there again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I'm really putting myself back out there right now. Like I'm literally like,
You should chill though,
yeah, I'm chilling. I'm chilling right now. I'm honestly really chilling and just like
because the
what's the word?
opportunity. I feel like the opportunity will come to you. Like, not like come to you. Like, you still got to put yourself out there in a sense. It's maybe a 90-10 kind of vibe,
Well,
but
what's crazy is how much support I've been seeing and getting from just so many people like within the games industry and stuff like that. Like they really are just coming to you. Like they're like, hey, like we got this shit going on, we got this going on. Like let us know when you're ready what you want to do. And I'm like, all right, bet. Like say no more. You know what I mean? Like I think that's like to me the craziest part about this whole situation.
would you ever pursue a like freelance project by project kind of vibe? Like,
Yeah,
would you ever?
after I have kids and I'm more established, yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I was
Because
thinking
then
about that as well. I mean, I'm not
my rate
fully
needs to go
experienced,
up.
but yeah,
My my rate needs to go up first. I think I need one more good bag, and then I can say, okay, I can consult for the rest of my life. I think
right.
ultimately, like, my goal is to do the things that I love full time and then do the things I don't like to do, like on like a quarterly basis.
Right.
Like,
And be sought out for those opportunities, right? Like having that cachet, but also having that reputation, um, to be able to start off for like, you need to go to Justin. Like you need to get that guy right there because
yeah,
he gonna fix your. He understands the language in ways you don't understand. At my job, I'm doing this thing. Oh God, let me not even talk about it. It's just a funny. I'll talk about it on Patreon maybe. Funny way she pronounced it, but it's because I know how to pronounce it, which I feel like I'm way more qualified to to handle this than other places. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of where I'm at now. I opened up LinkedIn this morning. I'm trying to like reacclimate myself there. I updated my resume this morning, trying to figure things out there, and I'm I. Th- if- I'm still doing like freelance stuff. I hit up Crunchyroll the other day, so I'm doing something with them pretty soon. And
Crunchyroll,
love
the role
Crunchyroll.
the role of crunch. I I started like what first four of JJK part two, season two
Mm,
part, and I stopped again. You know me.
yeah, it's a lot to think. But the fights are about to get fighting. You know
I
that,
know.
right?
It's just you know what happens? I try and watch the shit in the morning. Like that'd be the worst part. We trying to watch this
Yeah.
shit in the
I don't
morning,
know
and I'm
what violence you're gonna get in the morning, bro.
be
That's
like,
like an afternoon lunch thing, bro.
bro, I'll be fading in and out during the show. Like I gotta like turn this on when I can like actually pay attention to it. Because
Shout out to and Kwan's gonna think because Kwan was on the show a couple weeks and we didn't even get to talk about it. I've been using my Peacock to watch Traders,
yo,
and what a great show, man! You need to tap in. It's a great psychological thriller. It's a
I love Traders. I watch it.
You do watch it? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I watch Traders. I watch Traders. I do watch
It,
Traders. My wife
it's a
got
great show.
my wife got me to the first season. I'm behind, but yeah,
I got into it because Bananas and CT were on it, and um, I don't know if you watched the first episode.
I
Um,
did.
yeah. Well.
Well, but here's the thing about it is that my wife wanted to watch it and turned on episode one, and she like falls asleep, and I was just like, "You're falling asleep. We're supposed to be watching this together." She was like, "I just wanted to see who were the traders," and then just fell the fuck asleep. And
Yo, that's nuts.
like when she found out it was a black lady, she like literally just dozed off. Like she was like, "Okay, my work here is done.
Okay. All right. Well,
My
listen,
work
it's a great show. It's a great show. Um, I'm a fan. Shout out to Peacock for getting me to watch anything else but WWE. Um,
Listen, man, what a week!
what a week, right? Here
What a
we are.
what a past 2 weeks for just everything. How do we? Last week we had to talk about one thing that was tough to talk about, and just things that were disgusting that were happening that we had to talk about. This
Mhm.
week something else disgusting happened that we had to talk about,
Hey
and I
man, just the following up, a quick follow up to disgusting from last week. Did you see the report that John Laurinaitis
yeah, I
or John?
too was victimized.
I too was a victim in all of this, actually, and I was like, "You dirty motherfucker, man! I hate niggas."
Nasty niggas, man. Nasty niggas, man. Like I
But
listen.
but now because of that, right?
Yeah,
People are doing again, continuing with this witch hunt. That they're like Triple H has to be involved. He had to have known, and I'm like, bro, what do you gain from this?
nothing. They gain
You
absolutely.
lose a lot actually from
Yeah,
this.
you gain absolutely the fuck nothing from any of this. So ultimately, what's happening right now is you have a situation where John Laurinaitis is trying to like white knight himself in so many words, where he is, the dashing hero of the story. And you know what? I don't think that's a winning strategy, Meelz. What do you think?
Nah, no, nah. Like they got the text, bro. Like they got everything. It's a
Yeah.
I you would have to really be able to sell a history of being victimized by it. And John Laurinaitis is public perception is just like my public perception of him is based on Bruce Pritchard's podcast, which I think accurately, and then also Jim Cornette's podcast, and everyone else who has actually worked with him, who just says, "Yeah, this man's an ass kisser," and he just does whatever Vince tells him to do.
Yeah, it looks to be the truth in this sense, but to me, though, Meelz, it looks like they're not rocking with each other no more, and it's essentially two crooks trying to snitch on each other right now.
Well, because he looks terrible in front of his the Bellas, the Garcias came out and it was like, listen, and that's another thing too, right? Like, this is the industry that introduced them to their mother, and now they got to realize like their stepfather is a sicko and all this other shit. Like, crazy times, crazy existence. But yes, we have a new crazy this week.
Do we want to talk about this? I do. I want to talk about this out of context of SmackDown because there was another segment. There was another segment on SmackDown that I felt like deserves that with this like unfettered. This, you know what I mean? Deserves the attention that it deserves. And
I think so. I would love to talk about the situation kind of like isolated itself, and then the crowd reaction and the public reaction from it online that is apparently too online, but not online enough, not too online enough to actually exist online. But yeah, I think it's let's get into it for sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is our long form for the week. I mean, I don't think there's anything.
I got a Monet watch if you want.
She recorded some vignettes in a really terrible. I'm back in AEW. I'm going to show you girls how to do this thing.
Why did he say it like
I'm Mercedes Monet. Mercedes Monet talks like she is dubbed. Her voice is dubbed.
We're gonna hear a lot more talking over the next couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure it's part of Tony Khan's big announcement for this week. Oh, he got the big announcement this week. It's going to start off, AEW's back in Boston on this date. And then there's going to be another major announcement that Mercedes Monet has signed to AEW. And then there's going to be another major announcement that she will indeed be at the Boston show from the previous announcement.
And it's going to be money talks with a with a with the campaign that centers around the Chris Tucker movie of the same name. I'm back wrestling and AEW. You bitches better get with it.
All right. Well, that took that segment way further than I was going to, so I appreciate that. I was just literally going to say that.
I'm telling you bitches, I'm back to wrestle.
We are. No one will aggregate this. This week, Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Last week I ended the show and I said, hopefully we won't have any make it make sense moments next week. That was the last thing that I said on this very show 1 week ago. Hopefully we won't have any make it make sense moments. You know, like Charlotte and Asuka. You know, things like that just made no sense that we argue about often, yes. Right? WWE said, hold my beer. They hit the Cam Newton nodding gif. It said there's too much there's too much what is it? There's too much positivity going on right now. Let's make it a little bit negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get the confirmation that Cody was going to be on SmackDown. I think later that day, we get the confirmation that I thought Seth was going to be on there. Was that confirmed, or was that Cody saying he was just?
Seth? He was never going to be there. No.
So we get that happening. Roman's going to be there. I was like, Roman kind of has to be there. It's like after Rumble, he usually he's there. He's going to be there.
Yeah.
We wait for 2 hours. Let me tell you, I knew something was up. You texted me, full disclosure, Meelz texted me and said, "Buddy, strap in."
I said, what did I say? I said something shit like I was just like because again,
I
the
said, I said,
delay.
I said H in his bag. You said he hopped out of it tonight.
Because I was so confused. I was just like, huh? But
Hold on,
let's
hold on. I'm
continue.
going back to it. I'm going back because we texted a fucking lot. Oh, you said you're in for a ride on SmackDown tonight. I said, "Oh God, am I going to be mad?" And you said, "Yes." And I said, "Or H in is H in his bag?" And you said he leapt out the bag. He leapt out, not jumped out. He leapt out the bitch.
The ran for cover, nigga, because
He said the lights are too bright.
it's too bright. Actually, they're not bright enough, is what he said.
Yeah, the lights are too bright. I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, J5. I tried to make sense of it, but I couldn't. I have to make it make sense. Listen, listen to me right now. Cody comes out, or Roman comes out. For one, I knew something was up when he came out at 9:30. I said, "Yeah, what's going on?"
Hey man, good because shoot. Well, nah, he came out and he was doing his thing, Thizzle, man.
He was to the nines. He was to the nines. Have you noticed how little Cody's talking during all of this stuff? Like he's
As
literally been interrupted, like all of that. Like he's talked very little. I wonder if that's intentional.
I think it is. I think it is. I think he hopes to have his words mean things, and he knows it's kind of like it's very combustible, especially right now.
Yeah, yeah. So he he comes out. We finally get the face to face. He asks everyone to leave the ring, and I was like, "What's?"
Are we going to talk about what else he said on the Patreon?
Oh, oh no, yeah. Let's talk about the Roman. Well, I want to talk about the Roman thing after this because the
Okay,
Roman thing, like, there are so many. I want to get to every faux pas of this actual segment before we
okay.
get, because I don't want to talk about this anymore after we get through this, because I think this
Neither do I.
the biggest thing is that, like, what they did wrong. Right, like is like everything
Yes.
they did wrong during this segment. So first off, let's be clear. Roman Reigns comes out. He cuts a promo talking about strangely enough, Meelz, I thought it was super odd that Roman was like kind of like it seemed out of pocket, or like not natural or normal for Roman to be actually not begging but wanting Cody to face him. Was that not weird to you? That's not usually what he does.
I think, yeah. I think it was the mere fact that I think both champions are lobbying in a way, whereas I mean, Seth is being very direct with it, but Roman is being very indirect with it. Even though he's saying like you could be AB or you could be, go up against it, and I'm like, he's still begging, like
Yeah,
he still
like
wants the match.
Cody is like the debutante. Like he shouldn't. This is not for one, character wise. This was not the characters that we saw last Saturday, where Roman holds up his title, Cody's pointing at Roman. That's the direction. That's the fucking direction, right? Now we're getting Roman being like, "Y'all want to be with me, right? Y'all want to fuck with me, my nigga." I'm like, wait, what is going on? What is happening here? So we get that, we go through that part of the promo. Then he starts kind of getting real disrespectful, Meelz. He starts saying, "Oh, Seth said something about," he said, "Oh, exactly, no pop." He said, "Seth Rollins, exactly, no
Oh,
pop."
I mean, the stand up part is just it was an all timer. The segment was going in an all time direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he was in
Wait,
his bag. There was a bounce in the shoulders as he's letting it out. He's doing like performance comedy. He's walking with a limp. He's like, if these niggas
you know, you
wanna,
know, you know when Roman is back, he hit the ha 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 ha. He starts hitting the fake laugh, ha ha ha, the ha ha ha, that shit. I'm like, all
he's
right, he's
doing a full stand up routine.
he's like, yo, you ain't even got a knee and all this other stuff, and he's just like, you talk about me not being there. He's just like, I make 10 times the money you got. You want Seth
And I
Rollins
show
money?
up 10 times less than you. You know, it's like
I was like, what is this?
Def Comedy, Tribal Comedy Jam. That's what
Because
this shit was.
I don't even know what the hell it was trying to be, but it came off as like, let's just be clear here. Looking at this promo more like for the past couple of days, everyone was off. Everyone felt like they had just been told something literally before they walked out. Like
Hey,
that's how I felt about it.
would you? So you feel like someone? Do you feel like Roman carried that promo himself and like all the things that he wanted to hit, or was he told to do it?
Improv.
Because because if
Total
I was
improv.
Seth, I would be pretty tight. Like,
Yeah, I would be too. I think that if the storyline is as it's set now, without us like going, too far into it, but you guys probably know what's going on. But it's like, as it's set, is that it's these two champions basically facing off against each other. I get that Roman is the standoffish, put offish. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to shit on people, not like that. And I think that for someone who understands the business, like I would imagine that he does, I just don't think he should have done or gone that far. I thought he went too far. I
I
thought
think
he went.
so as well. Yeah, he definitely did. It was funny as fuck, but yes, he went too far.
Yeah, he went a bit too far there, and I thought that did not make him look good. And I
It
thought it
didn't
made
make it in conjunction with what the public perception was of Seth Rollins after Monday anyway, because
exactly
everyone, and I mean everyone, was calling Seth Rollins a pick me. Oh, why you begging? You're the world champion. Everybody, and for him to just like kind of compound it with essentially like, you listen, he's the B champion. This is what he does. He doesn't get paid more than me. He doesn't do things better than me. He works more than me, but I still make more than him. Like all types of other shit like that. Like it was a little bit of it was much. It's funny as fuck, but it was much.
yeah. And again, like we laugh, but I was just like, if what happened after this didn't happen, we would look at it and be like, okay, that was out of pocket, but at least we see where it's going now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I don't see that at all. I just see, I mean, I really just see Seth being disrespected. You know what I mean? That's all I saw. Cody comes out, cuts a promo, says that he makes it very clear that he wants Roman's title. He wants that title. He wants to see Roman lose everything. He wants to be the one to do it, just not at WrestleMania. At this point, I'm
I let
cocking.
out I let out a Scooby Doo.
I cocked my motherfucking head, Mr. Meelz, and I said, "Uh." I said, "Huh? What happened here? Come on, dice." I was like, what's going on here? Are we okay? Are we having fun here? Are we still having fun?" And he said he was taking counsel. Well, okay, so your reaction when he said not at WrestleMania?
Again, Scooby Doo. Like, what are we? Huh? What? Why? Huh?
Right.
But then it's because I don't know if you were on social media earlier in the day. It showed The Rock working out at a gym at Birmingham, Alabama.
I hate this nigga so much. We're gonna get into the Rock section. Let's just get into Rock section. Cody
Yeah.
says he's been taking counsel from someone, and he knows you better than I do, or he knows you better than anybody in the world. And I'm like, does he?
Does he?
And at that point, I was like, fuck. Because mind you, I hadn't read spoiler talk. So when I did scroll up, I did see that some people have reported he was backstage, but they also reported that Punk was backstage. So it could be, to me, it was like, it could have been anything, but it could have been nothing at the same time. You feel me?
He board a director. You can be wherever the fuck he wants to be.
Exactly. And so The Rock comes out, it pops. And I think that at the time, the people there, I think if they knew what was popping off, they would have booed it. They would have booed it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like they probably would have booted if they had figured it. I don't think that it had processed to the people in that, because after they reacted to it, it was like, oh fuck that. Like people was like, nah, fucking with it.
Wait a damn minute is what everyone said collectively.
Yeah. They got
damn minute.
They got bamboozled, yo.
If Cody's leaving the ring, then what the hell?
Well, the way that it was done made him look like such a putz. It was just like Rock,
so whack. Like
Rock comes out, hugs him. They shake hands. He hugs. He says something to him, and I'm like, The Rock loves to do this, Meelz. He loves to do the secret, like
I'm
punk.
telling. I'm sharing some. I'm sharing some bars with him. I'm sharing
Yeah,
some
like
love with him.
my young bull.
Right?
my Share something with my young bull. You feel me? Like no 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 no
It's
no
just
no.
it's just a moment between us.
I'm over between two guys being guys. The mana was flowing.
I had to
Camp
tell
mana.
him, listen, told him, listen, I respect your father, all types of other, like, you know what it was. Come
You know
on.
what the fuck it was. You don't got to listen. You don't got to. You
But
know.
and most importantly, Cody knew what it was.
Yeah,
Cody,
Cody's facials, and I think a lot of people read into it. You got to remember this nigga was an actor. He went to acting school. So if he really was feeling the type of way about it, y'all would never know, because he's always on. Think about you know when Cody walks into a building and does that smile, then he gets serious like the Kanye shit. I hate that shit, but I know that he does it because like if you notice when he does that smile when he walks to the arena, he smiles because he knows that's the part where the fans are gonna cheer.
right.
That's when because he can't hear it obviously because he pre-taped it, but he knows that's when the fans cheer. Then he goes back to serious after he figures that they stop cheering. That's why he does that shit. Like it's the psychology behind why he's such a good babyface. And I really want to get into why Cody's such a good babyface after we talk about this. But he leaves and The Rock and Roman stare off, leaving us, Meelz, a whole 3 days to wonder what the fuck was that and what did that mean.
Very much true. And it's because we ended up having the debate in the spoiler talk of the Discord regarding on what this was, because I was completely sure, and still somewhat to an extent, um, that final segment meant Cody was not going to WrestleMania against Roman. Matter of fact, he said it. So that's a double confirmation as
Yeah, he
well.
said, not at Mania.
Yeah. And
He said, I
when they
want it, not now. Sorry, but go ahead. Sorry.
when they flashed the presser event Las Vegas thing, I was like, oh fuck. And I was just, for one, the moment where the Cody thing left, I was like, this is so fucking whack. Like, this is so whack. Like, and don't get me wrong, everyone's losing their mind. It's The Rock. I get it. I love The Rock. Like, everyone's losing their mind, but I could tell in this moment, like, there's some funny business going on, and I'm trying to like process it and trying to put it together because, again, 6 days before, Cody Rhodes is standing on the top of the turnbuckle, pointing to Roman Reigns
Yes.
after winning the Royal Rumble for the
Twice.
second year in a row.
And I'm sorry, Rock is not a bigger deal than that because he's never won the Royal Rumble twice.
He barely won it the first time.
Yeah, he never won it twice in a row. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
That's all I could ask was, what are we doing here? Because it just seemed, and then there's the reports. I mean, to me, it's one thing that's clear over the last number of days. It's also the dirt sheets have no idea what the fuck is going on either.
No fucking clue. Not a clue.
Because they bounced back and moved. Oh, it's not a work. This is happening now. It's a work. All types of other stuff like that.
I flabbergasted. Still to this day, well, not so much as I was on Saturday, but again, they didn't. Here's the thing that we were huffing as far as the copium. They hadn't announced anything, which is true. They still haven't. Mm-hmm. Right. But I think that was them hedging their bets. What do you think? They're hedging their bets really hard right now to see how the fans feel about it. And I said this, I was like, this is like the worst, because again, the rumor comes out from Dave Meltzer that this is it's 2 or 3-fold here. Punk gets injured, so plans had to change. Here's why I think that this is bullshit. Because Punk got injured during the Rumble, and that would have implied that he was supposed to win the Rumble. But for all we know, all we see right now, Punk was not going to win the Rumble. It was always going to be Cody. There was no change. Punk was not supposed to win the Rumble, and he got hurt anyway. That hurts Seth, not Cody. So what does Punk have to do with anything? Punk has nothing to do with this, to where The Rock will need to come in. Seth will just find a new guy, and he probably won't main event, but he'll have a match, and a new guy will be there. That's the story. The other thing was to take away attention from Vince. Let me tell you something right now. If they're playing some type of 5D chess, Meelz, where the idea is that we're going to make you forget about Vince and all the stuff that's going on by doing the absolute worst thing we could do and sending the fans home very mad, that's actually going to make them talk about Vince more. So I
I
need someone
think
to make that.
I think they genuinely thought that The Rock, not only because the reception of the crowd, but I genuinely felt like they felt like people would be like, "Oh, this is awesome! The Rock is finally coming back to the ring." Which in all other instances, yes, it works. If in 2022 this happens, we're up. If 2021 this happens, we're up. If 2000 and what was it, 16, when this was
Mm-hmm.
again supposed to happen, we're up. We don't have the problem with The Rock. The problem
No.
is none of this makes sense with what they've been providing us, and in fact, it's flies right in the face of everything that all the storytelling, all the years of building, all the other stuff like that. It actually also flies in the face of people who said last year it wasn't Cody's time. He just got here. He
Mm-hmm.
hasn't done anything. But people
Mm-hmm.
are also willing to accept The Rock, who,
Well, that's what's killing me is all the best for business niggas. It's
oh
all
my
about the
God.
money, man.
You've got
It's
to
all about
understand. You've got to understand. WWE is a business. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
you got to understand that this show has been sold out with. I shudder to say this show has been sold out under the guise and the almost unimplied promise that it's going to be Cody and Roman again, and people wanting to see that. Is it safe to say that?
This show, to me, no matter what, whether The Rock was there or not, and The Rock wasn't even originally supposed to be there last year, by every metric, this WrestleMania was going to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. Not even just from a ticket standpoint, from social metrics, from talk, from business, from economy. WWE is moving in such a with such great momentum right now. There's no way that this would not have beaten anything from any prior WrestleMania. WWE is just too hot right now. Everything is cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that people are telling me that you got to understand WWE is a business and The Rock puts butts in seats, or The Rock is the bigger draw or something like that, WWE is the draw. The Rock has not been on WWE television actively
Mm-hmm.
for almost 2 decades. I mean, let me go. Almost a decade. I'm bugging. Punk thing and Cena thing. For
Yeah.
almost a decade has not been actively on WWE television. In fact, what has been the draw has been the compelling stories and characters that they've built over the last number of years that this motherfucker has not been here.
Yeah, like the story was always I'd love to do it in interviews and things like that. The story was never explicitly put there until January 3rd when The Rock said, "Should The Rock eat at a bar? The Rock eat in a car? The Rock eat at the head of the table?" Like that's never been that's never been the story. The story has been what's completely made up in the fans' minds, but not explicitly said on TV. So like, what are y'all even talking
and
about when you?
there's a reason why it hasn't been explicitly told on TV is because The Rock has been completely non-committal for the last 5 years.
Yeah. Until another thing that's come out, there's a lot of things coming out here, Meelz. There's this was always the plan. This wasn't the plan. Triple
This
H
is
is going to
part
get.
of his. This is part of his. Him coming onto the board was also getting a main event of WrestleMania. I was like, "What the crock of shit is this?"
Yeah, I would have, like, or The Rock was pushing for this. The big one to me was the one that I feel like is more truthful than anything is that The Rock saying, or people saying that The Rock um, did this so he could save WrestleMania. I think that part is probably some truth to it.
I could see him thinking of that. Um, but WrestleMania didn't need save. I mean, granted, there's a lot of with Punk going down in the same week as the Vince thing going on in the same week and all this other stuff like that. It definitely it's bad, but I don't think it was at any point a cause for real concern heading into Mania, knowing that you're still 2-3 months away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that literally crowds have not, if attendance went down, if people stopped watching, if all this other stuff. That's why wrestling is such in a weird bubble, right? People are very aware of the Vince McMahon allegations, but it's not enough of a groundbreaking story that penetrates through pop culture like the other ones. um because wrestling is such a weird bubble, very niche kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
also I think it's because of Vince McMahon's character as well and all this other stuff like that that people are attached to. Um, but I don't think at any point The Rock was saving WrestleMania
He's
from
not.
anything.
He can't even save the DCU. They didn't even want him saving that.
Listen,
And again,
WWE might be saving him, to be honest with you.
and to me, it looks really desperate. It looks like this is the last place I have any social cash. The last place I have any clout is here, right? So this happens. We're questioning it. We know that it's going to be Roman Rock. We're questioning how this even works within the context of the Cody story for him to give it up, because he explicitly says, and I almost feel like who sent Cody out there to say any of that stuff? For him to say, I want this belt, but I don't want Seth's belt, but I want to take you down, but I want this guy to do it for me first. It's almost like, how do you even walk it back, right? Live events happened last weekend. And I said this, I said, they're playing a deadly game here, because what you're doing right now is you're giving Rock a reason to be fucking booed. And people are like, no, he's not going to be booed. It's The
Y'all don't
Rock.
know. Y'all don't know The Rock like we know The Rock.
He's not going to get booed. Buddy. Yes, he is. And he
Bro.
was booed. And they booed him on Raw.
He's not up against. He's not bigger than being booed. The only one who would be bulletproof if they walked out. If Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out and said he was challenging Roman Reigns, it might be a different story. To be honest with you,
I'm not gonna lie. I would honestly pop for that. I'd be like, all right, fuck it.
I fucking nigga Stone Cold. What are you gonna do, baby? The Rock has a little bit more dirt on his name over the last number of years, and also he's been in situations where he has not been favorable. Plenty of times throughout WWE history. That is why when we look at this thing, when people are trying to tell us, oh, the IWC, this is just, y'all are this vocal minority who, who are not clamoring for this, but in real life, real people want it. Do you think that casuals are buying as many tickets to WrestleMania as people who are genuinely passionate about WWE?
Or buying WrestleMania tickets back in when did they go on sale? August? Because they had said, oh, The Rock might be coming to this one. I don't think that was the idea that anyone had when those tickets were announced. I think the idea that people had as soon as Cody lost was, we're running this back next year. I'm just gonna be honest. That was the general thought. I talked to you in the parking lot of SoFi Stadium, and I said, they got to run this back, right? Like it can't just end like this. There's just even in Vince's worst moments, it's never been like this bad. Like he's done some dumb shit in terms of just being a piss poor booker at times, but they ain't never been this egregious, right?
I'm trying
There's
to
been some
remember.
egregious shit, but never where it's like turning on a baby face that is clearly still over. He's never done that. Like Roman wants that over.
And it's just not essentially pulling the rug under something that you've already established as is happening. Unless it was like some injury or some sort of something that kind of like happened. But you can't have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble twice. Point to thing. Essentially build out the story. Market finishing the story. There's a whole video game surrounding this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then say, The Rock is the bigger draw. He's going to save WrestleMania. It's not that easy. And people have voiced their concerns. Don't get me wrong. The public reaction to it has been, it varies.
It's 80-20. That'd be real. It's 80-20. I only see it. Honestly, the Rock fans are a vocal minority at this point.
No,
I don't.
they are. Yeah, they are the vocal minority at this point. But also, people are fucking insane. So people are making death threats and all types of other stuff like that. But it's ruining. It's not ruining. I don't think it's ruining the business, but it's causing a major distraction in terms of what they want going on. With a lot of their things, Ricochet comes out and says, what's my name? O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son. He's in favor of The Rock and he's going this whole thing and he's getting all types of death threats and all those things. And then Ricochet comments on it and he also receives the smoke on it. You go on WWE's Instagram page and they're getting the smoke on it. You go on their YouTube page, and the video for this thing is the most disliked video that WWE has ever had. So they're getting smoke for it. And people are just like, it's online. It doesn't matter. It's about the
Right.
people who buy the tickets. It's about
Right.
this. It's about that. And I'm like, bro, you have no fucking clue. Like these are people who are writing for ESPN. These are people who are writing for major publications that are trying to tell you that this thing doesn't matter.
And it
Like,
does, it absolutely does matter. Like it does matter. The people who are upset, they do have a right to have this voice and to be fucking frustrated about this, because ultimately, Meelz, it goes back to the fact that they almost made Cody too good of a babyface at this point, where people, if it was Cena, no one would have, like, at the time Cena was making money, but I feel like if this was John Cena at the time, nobody would have gave a fuck.
no.
Nobody would have given a fuck. But
Because to be honest, yeah.
because Cody is who he is, he's made such a impression on people.
And he hasn't won the big one yet. So
Exactly.
there's not a something that's like essentially like, oh, he's entitled with any of this. He hasn't actually won anything yet. That's what
Yeah.
we've been waiting for.
I would argue that, like, honestly, at the very least, even if you don't like him, I think a lot of people just want to see him see it through. Because this is a story that y'all have crafted and created, and now you're saying, oh, never mind. Or if the worst thing they could do right now is to use The Rock as a ploy, which I don't think they're doing, as a ploy to get Cody more over. He's not going to be more over. He is the most over as he's ever going to get this year. You make a guy and and you want somebody to take over for Roman when he eventually goes on vacation or whatever. Cody is that guy. The Rock is not that guy. And also, what was also killing me, Meelz, is people who hate part timers like Roman, but are popping for a part timer like The Rock coming in and taking that spot. I think that doesn't rub me. That rubs me the wrong way in a
There's
lot of
so
ways.
many hypocrites, not like hypocrites in the, but like, I don't think y'all are using your whole brain when you come with this argument and you try to explain to me as if you're explaining it to like a 5-year-old or something about why The Rock is better in this than Cody. And I'm like, you're being disingenuous. You're being patronizing. You've half the time you don't know what you're talking about. All you, um, and then also like, who are you to try to explain that? Like, listen, we do the show every week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just in terms of
And
business,
we right, and that's what I'm about to say. Like, we are also one of the rare people who analyze it from a business standpoint and a marketing standpoint as well. We don't sit here and just talk about why someone should have won and why someone should have lost. We talk about how the metrics and how it serves a bigger purpose, and we use both of our experience with things like that to pretty much say like, hey, this is why these things happen. Whereas a lot of these people, no offense, are just talking out of their asses. I'm so
Yeah.
mad at that ESPN article because I'm like, bro, they're like, oh, this could be another spectacle like The Rock and Hogan. The Rock was booed against Hogan. You didn't even watch the match. He was booed. I'm not sure what they have on Peacock now. Maybe they changed it or something along those lines. Maybe they added in the DVD some cheers, but he was booed vociferously against Hogan. They
He
wanted
had
Hogan.
he had to work heel, and in this case, you're gonna turn your biggest heel in your company that you've ever had into a motherfucking babyface by facing The Rock.
He's going to smash The Rock on the mic. You saw what he did to Seth.
Yeah, yeah. Because I guess when Roman don't give a fuck no more, that's the type of shit he does.
He's an impenetrable force. There's nothing you can really go up against. Oh, he doesn't work as much days. That's not a creative insult. You don't have that much insults for Roman Reigns. He's been the champion for almost 1,400 days or over 1,400 days. And you've been The Rock.
Yeah.
It has not been a kind last 2 years for The Rock, to be honest with you, in his field and outside of his field. It's a
So
great opportunity. Go ahead.
so this YouTube video, it's 500K dislikes. It might be more than that now. It starts spreading to other videos. And at this point, like you said, Meelz, is taking away from actual legitimate stories that they're trying to build for WrestleMania, with namely being the Bailey thing that we're going to talk about on Patreon today. It's spreading. And I feel like if they don't, well, they're going to take care of it on Thursday. It's going to be what it is on Thursday. Whatever it is, we just got to be prepared to face it. They're hyping this press conference up as a big deal.
Well, shout out to Cody for quelling it in a sense because the likes are back to normal now on future videos. Like The Cody one, it's very little likes now. Cody and Drew from Raw and all this other stuff like that. But they had to do that to quell because it was getting way too rabid,
Yeah,
very very quickly.
and they did. It was a very concerted effort to walk a lot of that stuff back. Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, what they did, they said it countless times throughout the show on Monday. Well, we didn't announce anything, or nobody announced anything. So everyone's just doing this because they love them. You saw you saw the fucking signs in the crowd and everything like that. Like, you can't downplay this. And people have been comparing it to the Yes Movement. I'm like, I don't even think I could do that. I honestly feel like the Cody's probably a little bit or a lot of bit more over than Brian was at that point. To be honest with you, like, these motherfuckers love him. It's to a point where I was like, bro, I hated this motherfucker. Damn
For
near 7.
years, you know how
Yes,
crazy we look for
yes.
lobbying for Cody Rhodes to be in the WrestleMania.
Like, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. Raw starts with Rocky sucks chants, and you see Seth Rollins wanting to laugh. Like, Seth is like, "Yo, what do we do here?" But
That's like I've been there.
exactly, and it's like with Seth, it's almost like you have to know that he's self-aware enough to know that that's not that what the position he's in is fucked up, right? Like, he knows this position that he's in is really fucked up. But also, they both know, like, this was going to happen. They both knew that. And you're putting them in this position where they have to try and sell this storyline that nobody wants to see. Seth says, I want to face you. They start booing him. They love Seth. They start booing the shit out of him. Come on, man. Cody says practically nothing
Yeah,
at all. He said, and I'm guessing they're saving the promo for Thursday. You think?
they're saving everything for Thursday. To be honest with you, it's very um, Super Bowl week, very strategic. Having this press conference announcing
So,
the Vegas thing. That's why I was so sure it was Rock versus Roman, right? And now
yeah.
everyone's saying it's a work, it's a work. It's been a work since the beginning. Everyone's been
Now
fooled.
it's a work now.
It's a
Yeah,
work now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
it wasn't on
my
Friday.
thing, right. It wasn't on Friday because at Friday, essentially what they had to do, and we'll talk about it with the Bailey thing, you kind of had to establish these WrestleMania matches outside of the women's championship ones. You kind of had to establish your big two main events going into this massive Super Bowl press conference that they're going to have. Being streamed on Peacock, being streamed on YouTube, being streamed everywhere. It's going to be in Vegas where the Super Bowl is being held. A lot of cross promotion, a lot of sponsors, a lot of all these other things as well. So they had to get it. That's why I'm like, listen, The Rock and Roman Reigns ending SmackDown with that little Chiron thing is not. It's not a coincidence, bro. Like
It was
you've seen television, right?
Yeah, it was literally them saying this is the new match, and then they said, "Oh fuck." Somebody in there, I don't know if it's Triple H or somebody above him, someone has to be saying, "I told you so," and it's probably H, right? It probably has to be him saying, "I told you this was going to happen," and now we have to come up with something different. I know that these motherfuckers haven't been sleeping though all week, because you know what they did? They put out a video of Shinsuke Nakamura attacking Cody at a live event, and niggas said they killed that video too. They've been killing The Rock, and let me say, for The Rock's sake, he should really, my boy, stop fucking tweeting and talking. Stop it, stop it. Because you tweeting through it, trying to act like y'all just don't know what's about to happen. I love the reaction from the fans. I'm like, bro, look at your comments though. What about those? It's the same way. It's the same thing that happened when Baywatch came out and flopped, and he kept talking about like the Lithuanian news outlets that love the movie and shit. Like, shut up, nigga! They don't like that shit. Like that fucking movie.
I hate when people are not like,
Self-aware.
yeah, or choose to ignore it in favor of other things. Like it's not a very becoming trait of an actual superstar talent.
So
Um,
my question to you is this,
okay.
Mr. Meelz. My question to you is this: How 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 do you walk this back and make it up to people on Thursday?
I envy whoever's in the position to do this because it's a real stupid situation they put themselves in. I'm not against The Rock. I just don't think The Rock should. I don't think The Rock is the final answer and the only answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there's a place for The Rock at this WrestleMania, and it'd be great to have The Rock at this WrestleMania. But I think in terms of importance, I think in terms of what's going to continue moving you forward throughout the rest of the year and what has brought you great riches throughout last year is Cody. And to be honest with you, it it fortifies everything that H has been doing over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It says that this guy had the idea and he has spurred such an incredibly compelling character that people are willing to go out their way and almost um, riot against the machine of what they've been chosen for. And again, part of it's also WWE fans have been through this like 8 million times of being told this is the guy and you're going to deal with it. And at this point, we're no longer going to deal with it. But again, it's because of Cody and it's because of how beloved he is. And it's because of the story that they've created and this narrative and how they've pushed it that made it so compelling. Everyone talking about Dusty's son every fucking week on the show and all this other shit like that. Um, it's tough. I think a triple threat would be the bare minimum of something I would consider, but it's definitely a possibility.
Don't nobody want a triple threat,
That's
man.
what I'm
Don't nobody
saying.
want a
But
triple
also,
threat.
it's like we not having Roman work both nights.
I
Roman's
think
not working both nights.
I think he gonna have to suck it up and work both nights. I think that's the only way that you make this right. And I said it this morning. I was like, it's probably Cody Roman night one, Roman Rock night two. And I think you let Cody ride over to the sunset and have his WWE, and The Rock and Roman have their little fucking circle jerk on Sunday, whatever
I
they
mean,
want to do.
that's probably how it's gonna go because they're going to say like essentially
Because Cody, he's gonna say, "I said night at WrestleMania night two."
Agent's gonna be like, well, you're both gonna get what you want because on Saturday we'll see Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed. Everyone's yeah, and then like on Sunday we'll have Roman Reigns versus the Great One, The Rock. Get the fuck off the
Oh,
stage!
nothing is going to fix this because you know what, Meelz, you fucked it up the first time. So now no one like you fucked it up so bad, nobody wants to see this nigga no more. That's how crazy it is. They don't want to see him at all. They don't want to see The Rock at all. Like
Listen,
maybe he
man.
can come back for SummerSlam, but right now it's too hot, bro. That's the same shit they told him at DC. The same thing James Gunn told him at DC. It's too hot, bro. You got to move around. You got to move to the side, my nigga, because it's way too hot for you right now, and I don't know how to fix it. I really don't know how to fix this shit no more. Listen, it's Thursday. A lot hinges on Thursday. A lot really does hinge on Thursday. I don't envy. I said this before on the show, and I didn't think it would be about this, but I said like I do not envy the position of one Triple H having to end the Roman Reigns storyline, and I still feel that way because how do you end something that has been so kind of unanimous with the COVID era and with the era that they came out of it, the boom that they've had since then? How do you end something that has been so unanimous and so kind of like we've been around it for a long time, almost five
Right,
years? How do you
right.
end it? And to me, right now, they're not doing a good job or a service to this title. I would say the past year, Roman after Mania has been like the least interesting that it's been. I mean, okay, maybe after Crown Jewel or whatever Jay pinned him. That was after that. It was kind of like, all right, what do we do now?
Yeah,
It is time to get the belt off this man. It is time to move forward. The fans want. I think more so than anything, the fans want to see Roman lose. I think that's really the long and the short of it is that they want to see this guy finally get his comeuppance. He can't keep winning. He can't keep getting away with this. And I think fans are just tired of seeing it.
and I think if you spend the entire WrestleMania 40 dismantling that entire thing, it probably goes well. But I can't imagine people are going to be very favorable to The Rock moving forward over the next couple of months. But
No,
if you want to you with the double night thing with Roman working both nights, you have the opportunity to continue the road with the Cody thing and also feature The Rock in certain places. Um, but it's listen, this is a bad look, man. It's
they're
just
stupid.
bad. It's fucking stupid. And all of you are stupid for also coming up and trying to talk to people as if they're idiots and stuff like that. I've been wanting to call people stupid for the last number of days because I don't normally get into that kind of stuff, but I also feel like people have the right to be mad at something that they've invested in and the right to voice their opinions about it.
Right.
And when people come in and try to essentially say like for instance, Sami Zayn, love Sami Zayn, but again, there are bigger issues in the world. It's like we can acknowledge both of them at the same time. Just be completely clear.
Yeah.
We can
That was weird.
acknowledge that.
But then
Go ahead.
Sammy comes out and he's like talking like shouting out Cody on Monday. It was weird. Like I'm nothing's wrong with what Sammy said or did, but it's like last year you was in the same position, bro, and niggas was going up for you.
Yeah,
And people would have killed for you last year. I just think it was odd timing on his part to do that.
I agree. I agree. But I think you can do both, and I think people who want The Rock, you're completely validated and wanted The Rock. This has been a story that's been, not necessarily a story, but this has been a match that people have wanted for years. It's not WWE's fault. It never fucking happened, and it's not Roman's fault. It never happened. So there you go. But um, there's also much to the credence, same as you believe in that match. There's also the belief in that Cody story. People want it to be finished. It's a great story. WWE for a long time never had like these very good cyclical stories that actually had a beginning, middle, conflict resolution, and end. And now
Yeah.
they're finally giving it to us. People want that too. So I'm just saying, don't talk down to people who clearly they're clearly upset because essentially the story has dictated one thing and now they're being thrown into other and forced to accept it. Most people are
Yeah.
not going to accept these things, especially Gen Z and Gen millennials and stuff like that. We're
Oh,
not willing
I
to
mean,
just bow down and accept shit.
yeah, you see that. I mean, you see the online task force. It's over. They
Hashtag
fix it.
we want Cody. We want
Yeah,
Cody.
fix it. Niggas coming back with "We Want Rock." Come on, man. That shit ain't even trend.
We want Rock. Ooh, bro. Come on,
This is
man.
the biggest. Listen, if you would have told me 7 years ago that Cody would be a bigger deal than the fucking Rock, come on now, come on now, I would have said you were crazy. I would have called you a fucking madman. He's more important than the Rock right now in that company, and I think the Rock needs to understand that, and I think he needs to. I think he needs to truly try and make the guy instead of trying to make himself.
Absolutely.
I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to step aside. Step
Quick
aside,
que-
old man.
Absolutely. Quick question not related to this. Maybe we can use this as a transition point. Are you familiar with the Stardom Rossi thing
I,
that's
I,
going?
I'm familiar with Rossi in terms of like what he's done for the Ute,
Okay.
but in terms of that situation, I think that it's quite interesting how many, again, like you said about wrestling journalists, how many people have gotten it wrong in that sense, and how many people have like truly like, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been like saying wild shit about Rossi and what he's done. They called him like a trafficker. They said he was working for WWE. They said he was poaching niggas, and then the story comes out and everyone like doesn't walk anything back. I just think that's funny.
Yeah, that's kind of it was very, very strange. And it was like, oh, he wanted to create his own thing, but he's not trying to poach anybody. Everyone's saying he's going to WWE, all this other stuff like that, blah blah blah. And yeah, no one really walks it back. So we shall see. All
Yeah,
right. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation, continue to take the ride on it because we got two more.
yeah,
Come
yep.
on this ride with us. Here go two more for you. Because we're about to hop on Patreon to talk about Raw. Well, SmackDown and Raw from the last couple of weeks. Everything, I guess, non-rock related. Um, so make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/the HORNC. Make sure you continue to follow us at the HORNC on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere that we promote the show. Any final words for our non-patrons?
No, make sure you check us out next week. I'm going to preach positivity for next week's episode. I'm
That's
going to put it. I'm manifesting a positive outcome that we will be excited to talk about next week.
the
How about that?
system might be dismantled by Thursday. We don't know.
The sold outness, it might be looking like an AEW show by the come next week. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, or not watching, listen to the show this week, and we'll be back at you guys next week. So for Meelz, I'm Justin. Peace out.